Okay, so are you ready to dive into the world of killer bees?
Always.
You sent over this YouTube video from Learn Bright, and
Yeah.
it's for kids,
Right.
but it's got some really good info in here.
Yeah. There's a surprising amount of depth in these things.
We're going to unpack everything from like their diet to, obviously their killer reputation, and
Yeah.
I think you'll be surprised at what we uncover.
I think a lot of people think they know about killer bees, but there's always more to learn.
For sure. So much more. I mean, you'll walk away
Smart.
understanding not just why killer bees, have such a buzz around them, but also like their role in ecosystems, the science behind how they behave, even their connection to the food we eat.
It's really a perfect example of how interconnected
Oh, yeah.
our world is.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the video starts off showing how similar killer bees look to regular honeybees.
Right.
Small with those classic yellow and black stripes.
hmm
And it's like,
Yeah, and that visual similarity is actually really important because it's key to understanding the Africanized part of their name.
okay, yeah.
They're a hybrid species, a mix of African and European honeybees.
Ah, so that hybrid origin is what explains why they're so adaptable. I
Yeah.
mean, they're found all over the Americas. They're thriving in all kinds of climates.
Yeah, all sorts of climates.
I think the video even mentions they've made it to Hawaii.
Yeah, and they're incredible explorers. And speaking of thriving, did you notice how the video emphasizes their social structure?
Oh, yeah?
Thousands of bees working together. It's a highly organized colony,
Right.
and it's a true marvel of cooperation.
Yeah, and it's like a perfectly choreographed dance.
Yeah.
You've got the queen, you've got the drones, you've got the worker bees.
Yeah.
They're all playing their part.
Mm-hmm.
And the video even points out that killer bees take good care of their young, just as other bees do.
That's a great observation. That highlights the concept of eusociality, which is this complex level of social organization that you see in certain insects, where they have this cooperative care for their young.
Wow.
And it's not just bees. Think of ants, termites. They exhibit this too.
So it's not just about being social. It's like next level teamwork.
Yeah.
That's vital for the entire colony's survival.
Exactly. This cooperative parenting is essential to passing on their genes to the next generation, making sure that they have enough resources to thrive.
Okay, so shifting gears a little bit to their diet.
Okay.
It's all about nectar and pollen, right?
Absolutely.
Flower power all the way.
They get their energy from that nectar and all those essential nutrients from pollen.
And they have a pretty cool way of getting that nectar.
Right.
The video talks about their proboscis,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically a built-in straw.
Yeah, a built-in straw for sipping. And as they're sipping the nectar, they're picking up pollen on their fuzzy little bodies
Oh, wow.
and then carrying that pollen to other flowers, which helps plants make seeds and fruits.
So they're like tiny buzzing gardeners,
That's a great way to put it.
helping to keep our food supply going.
They are. Think about those juicy almonds you enjoy. Killer bees play a big part in their production, pollinating almond blossoms with incredible speed and efficiency.
See, that's a connection I never would made.
Right.
It's amazing how these little creatures impact our lives in such a big way.
Yeah, it really highlights that interconnectedness of ecosystems and our food systems.
Oh, yeah. But of course, we can't ignore the elephant in the hive here.
Right.
It's the,
Yeah.
killer part of their name.
Yeah.
The video even acknowledges it. It states that scientists gave these insects the nickname killer bees because of their aggressive behavior when it comes to defending their nests, and because killer bees have killed some humans.
It's important to understand that that label can be a little misleading. While they are fiercely protective of their homes, it's more about aggressive defense rather than random attacks.
So they're not just out there looking for trouble.
Exactly. They're not aggressive in general, but they have a very strong response to what they perceive as threats.
Got it, okay.
So it's like they've got their neighborhood watch on high alert,
Yeah.
constantly protecting their hive.
Yeah, if you stumble upon their home, you're definitely going to know it.
Oh, yeah.
The video mentions that their buzzing gets incredibly loud when they swarm.
Yeah.
It's like their way of saying, back off.
Right. It's a clear warning signal. And that brings us to a fascinating debate that the video highlights. Are killer bees environmental heroes, or are they troublemakers?
That's a great question. They're clearly vital pollinators for our food supply.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing their aggressive defense can also cause some issues.
You hit the nail on the head. There are valid points on both sides of this argument. On
Yeah.
one hand, they're incredibly efficient pollinators.
Yeah.
And crucial for many ecosystems and food crops.
Right.
But their aggressive nature can impact other bee species, potentially disrupting the balance of the ecosystem.
So it's not a simple black and white issue.
Right.
There are trade-offs to consider.
Exactly. And that complexity is what makes this deep dive so intriguing. We're uncovering layers of nuance and challenge and assumptions.
Now, you mentioned that they're incredible explorers.
Yeah.
And the video explains how they spread from South America to North America. Did that have anything to do with humans?
Well, their ancestors were actually brought from Africa to South America for breeding purposes.
Wow.
And then they spread from there. So it's a classic example of the unintended consequences that can occur when a species is introduced to a new environment.
So they're like accidental tourists
Right.
who ended up making a new home and causing a bit of a stir along the way.
That's one way to put it. And their spread brings up an interesting point. The video mentions that killer bees are not endangered.
Right.
In fact, they're thriving, which seems kind of counterintuitive considering the concerns we just talked about.
It's like they're both a success story and a cautionary tale at the same time.
Yeah, that's a great observation. You know, their adaptability is impressive, but it also highlights the potential for disruption in these delicate ecosystems. It's a reminder of the complexities when we talk about invasive species.
Yeah, it makes me think of those headlines about the Burmese pythons
Right.
taking over the Everglades in Florida.
Yeah.
Another example of a species that's thriving in a new environment, but not without causing some ecological havoc.
Exactly. Invasive species can have a ripple effect, impacting biodiversity and the balance of entire ecosystems.
So, okay, they're adaptable, they're successful, they have that fierce protective instinct. What does all this mean for us?
Yeah.
Like, how do we coexist with these bees?
Well, that's a crucial question, and the video actually touches on that, emphasizing the importance of learning to coexist safely with killer bees,
okay.
especially in areas where they're prevalent.
So it's not about eradication. It's about finding ways to, I guess, live in harmony,
Exactly.
or at least in relative peace.
Precisely. Understanding their behavior, respecting their space, taking the necessary precautions are key. For instance, knowing what to do if you encounter a swarm.
Right.
That can make all the difference.
That makes sense. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to dealing with a species that's known for its aggressive defense.
Absolutely. Avoiding areas where they're known to nest, wearing light-colored clothing, staying calm if you do encounter a swarm. Those are just a few tips that can help minimize the risks.
So it's about being aware, being prepared, and not underestimating these tiny but powerful creatures.
Exactly. And this brings us back to the value of this deep dive. You know, we're not just learning about killer bees in isolation,
Yeah.
but connecting their story to these broader themes of ecology, human impact, and the importance of scientific understanding.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. We started with a kids video about bees, and now we're exploring ecological complexities, invasive species, even human safety.
It's a reminder that even seemingly simple topics can lead to these profound insights and connections.
Speaking of connections, I was intrigued by the part in the video where it mentions scientists tracking the movement of killer bees. Why are they doing that?
Well, that's a fascinating area of research. By tracking their movement, scientists can learn how killer bees are adapting to new environments,
Okay.
what factors influence their spread, and how they interact with other species.
It's like they're on this grand adventure, constantly exploring, adapting, leaving their mark on the world.
And that journey, as we've discussed, is filled with both opportunities and challenges. It raises important questions about biodiversity, conservation, and the impact of human activities on the natural world.
So even though our focus is on killer bees, this deep dive is really about so much more.
Yeah.
It's like a window into the complexity and the interconnectedness of life on Earth.
Exactly. It's a reminder that every species, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, plays a role in this grand tapestry of life.
Yeah, it's about appreciating that intricate web of relationships
Right.
that connects us all, from the tiniest bee to the largest ecosystem.
And that interconnectedness is something worth reflecting on. How do our actions, even those that seem unrelated to nature, potentially impact the delicate balance of ecosystems?
It's a thought-provoking question, and one that the story of killer bees brings to light in a very compelling way.
Indeed. It challenges us to think about our role in the environment and the responsibility we have to protect the diversity and resilience of life on Earth.
It's like a call to action, urging us to learn more, to be mindful of our impact, and to advocate for the preservation of our planet's incredible biodiversity.
It's about recognizing that we're not just inhabitants of this planet,
Mm-hmm.
but stewards of its future.
I love that. Stewards of its future. What a powerful way to think about our responsibility to the natural world.
And with that, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of killer bees.
Wow. It's been an incredible journey, filled with surprises, insights, and a renewed appreciation for these complex creatures.
I hope our listener has come away with not just knowledge, but also a sense of wonder about the natural world and a desire to continue exploring its mysteries.
Thanks for joining us on this buzzing adventure. Until next time, keep those minds curious. And remember, there's always more to learn, more to discover, and more to connect with in this incredible world we call home. Wow, it's like we've gone from Killer Bees 101 to a graduate seminar on ecology and conservation.
Well, that's the beauty of a deep dive, isn't it? Uncovering those unexpected layers of complexity and realizing how much there is to learn.
Absolutely. And I think the Learn Bright video does such a great job of sparking that initial curiosity, even for younger viewers.
Right.
It proves that you don't need a PhD to start appreciating the wonders of science.
Exactly. Making complex topics relatable and understandable is crucial for cultivating that sense of wonder about the natural world. Who knows? Maybe this video will inspire some future entomologists
Yeah.
or ecologists out there.
Imagine that, like a kid watching a video about killer bees, and then years later, leading groundbreaking research on pollination
Right.
or ecosystem dynamics. Pretty cool to think about.
It really is. It's a reminder that inspiration can come from anywhere.
Okay, so before we wrap up this amazing deep dive, what's the one thought you'd like to leave our listener with?
Well, I'd encourage our listener to consider the interconnectedness of all living things,
Mm-hmm.
how even a creature as seemingly small and insignificant as a bee can have such a profound impact on our lives and the environment.
Like that butterfly effect,
Well,
right?
right.
One small change can have a ripple effect throughout an entire system.
Exactly. And it highlights the importance of understanding our place in that web of life. Our actions, no matter how small, can have consequences,
Yeah.
both positive and negative.
So it's not just about learning about killer bees, it's about understanding our role in the bigger picture, being mindful of our impact, and making choices that promote a healthy and thriving planet.
Beautifully put. Ultimately, it's about recognizing that we're not just inhabitants of this planet, but stewards of its future.
I love that. Stewards of its future. What a powerful way to think about our responsibility to the natural world.
And with that, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of killer bees.
It's been an incredible journey, filled with surprises, insights, and a renewed appreciation for these complex creatures.
I hope our listener has come away with not just knowledge, but also a sense of wonder about the natural world and a desire to continue exploring its mysteries.
Thanks for joining us on this buzzing adventure. Until next time, keep those minds curious and remember, there's always more to learn, more to discover, and more to connect with in this incredible world we call home.